Hello and welcome to College and Beyond Real Talk with Amour. If you have not already guessed, I am your host, Amour Carthy. Today's episode is sponsored by Education Innovations, where we help guide families through education decisions from college and graduate admissions to life beyond. The purpose of our podcast is to help expose people to different colleges and different careers they may be interested in. On today's podcast, we are going to have Charity Bridgewater. Her episode is entitled From Mississippi Roots to the Atlanta Bench, A Judge's Journey. So without further ado, let's bring on Charity Bridgewater. Hey, how are you?
I am well. How are you today?
I'm doing really good. From Mississippi Roots to the Atlanta Bench. So why don't we start out with the Atlanta Bench? You are a judge. Why don't we start out with that? Do you have like a typical day or does it change every single day?
So I'm a magistrate court judge here in Clayton County. A part of Clayton County has Atlanta in it. So my day is my days are vary every week. So one week it could be just reviewing warrants, signing warrants, search warrants, arrest warrants. Another day could be yesterday I was doing evictions. I had over 100 people in court who were being dispossessed from their property, and we had to adjudicate those cases. I do small claims, I do county ordinances, I do preliminary hearings, I have done protective orders. So any day can be different, but usually I am interacting with our public every day.
Wow. So that's a lot. So do you I didn't know that you had to do all that. Okay, but that's a good thing, especially if you like change. So, you know, that's good for people to know. So are an associate judge. So I didn't know there were levels to it. So if you're an associate judge, what is like the ultimate like level of a judge in the, court where you're located?
Okay, so there are in Georgia levels of court. Well, for in our county at least, magistrate, state, and superior. So for the level I'm at, there is a chief judge, and she's elected, and
Mhm.
then there are three full-time judges that she can appoint, and then she has a number of part-time judges that also help with our bench. We're 24 hours a day, so we sign warrants every time, all times of night. I'm on call sometimes from 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. in the morning. It can be a long day reviewing the warrants all the time, and then there are days where I'm doing first appearances where persons are arrested. So in my position, I can go to presiding, and then at some point, I guess I may want to go be elected in another court because the judge I work under is the elected position.
Ooh, okay. So that's again, people watch these courtroom shows. I really didn't know anything, behind that. I just thought, well, you judge and it's like Judge Judy or whatever. People are acting crazy and that's that. I didn't know that you had to be on call. So thanks for sharing that. I think that you are, sharing things that people or, young folks can consider if they want to be a judge. Now, what is probably like the craziest thing that dealt with that you never expected to deal with as a judge?
The craziest things I deal with are usually regarding criminal matters. It's amazing that a lot of people don't realize that everything we do is recorded, from being on a MARTA bus to being on Instagram Live to being in the airport. Everything we do, it has some way to be tracked back to you. So I remember I am on my sixth year being a judge.
Mm.
My first year or two, I remember one of the warrants I was presented with was someone had did armed robbery with Cash App. The person sat there and held a gun and told the other person to um, Cash App his mama's Cash App. I'm sorry. That was the one I was like, "Are you for real? Did someone literally come to you, pull a gun out and said, Cash App my mama's go, Cash App his account, and whatever amount the person Cash App." Then they took the person's phone, threw it away, and ran off. But of course, it's a trail because they cashed out from my account from their account to the other person's account. I guess they thought it was their mama's account that no one was going to realize who it was. I'm just grateful that person didn't get that it was an armed robbery and that they didn't hurt them, but the fact that you thought you was gonna get away with cash apping to your mama's account, not your account. So that was one of the crazier cases, hearing people take Uber to rob the T-Mobile location. Some of the things I just go on Instagram Live and showing that you're doing some type of criminal act and then being surprised that not
Uh,
getting caught. Yeah, I don't think a lot of people. That's one of the things I don't realize. People think that they're gonna get caught. They just are caught up in the moment of being live or I don't know, just doing what they're doing, and then later on you have them being arrested, and then they're all sad and they're all remorseful. And I'm not any way, shape, or form judging them for that, but it's just the ideal that it's a lot. And then another thing I think that is hard for me sometimes to realize is that not everyone relationships are the same. So I see a lot of family violence against couples, same sex or otherwise, family members, children, parents. And I'm from Mississippi. So my mother was quick to put the fear of God in you. And when
mhm.
I hear some of these young people or just any family members having the incidents that they're having, I just find it hard that they did that. Like, you fought your mom, or you pulled out her weed while you were fighting her because she was in your phone. It's just a lot of things. So this has been no day is the same.
Mhm. At first I was gonna say, tell me the funniest story. Like, I mean, you have some funny stories, you have some sad stories. It must be really difficult, right, to keep a straight face and not, get emotional. Like, how do you like keep an even keel without like, getting sad or just bursting out laughing, like, because this is just so foolish what I'm hearing. Like, do you practice your game face? Like,
I I do because I my we do hearings via Zoom, some matters, and
mm,
my assistant is usually on with me, and she's like texting me to fix my face because you're because I'll sit there and I'm listening to someone tell me why they did what they did or why
mhm,
they don't think they should be held liable for whatever reason, and
mhm,
they'll usually admit, yeah, um, I remember in protective orders, they would say, there would be an issue where those are where people are, usually couples are trying to get a protective order against their spouse or a family member or some boyfriend and or even a stranger. It could be somebody who is stalking you. And then you would ask them like questions like, inform them they have the right to remain silent and not incriminate themselves. But then you would ask them, hey, did you do what she said you did? Did you call her dad or call her mom and try to intimidate them to intimidate her? And they'll be like, "Yeah." And I'm like and then my face will show it, and then my sister will be like, fix your face," because 'cause I'm literally listening to them tell me things that they admit that they did. So those are, I think for me, the biggest issue is just making sure that I don't make anyone feel that they don't get their day in court,
mm,
be it civil, be it criminal. I'm never trying to with criminal matters, you're innocent until proven guilty. In
mhm,
my level of court, we are either reviewing the warrants or seeing if there's enough evidence to bind the case over to the next level, be it state for misdemeanors or felonies for superior court. But for those small claims or for dispossessory or any other matters where people are feeling like they have not been heard, we have this thing called pre-issuance where private citizens can file petitions against each other because maybe they went to the police and the police didn't do anything with it. And now they want the court to see if they're going to issue a criminal warrant.
mhm,
So we deal with that too. So I'm always trying to make sure that I'm not making anyone feel that their issues or concerns are not valid.
mm.
I do sit there and try to give them the deference and not show that I'm incredulous or my face just can't believe you said that. So it's been a few times though I have laughed when people come before me. And then it's amazing. Another thing too is seeing how when we did protective orders, how couples or even when you do arrest warrants, sometimes seeing if you get a chance to see the persons involved,
Mhm.
you would never think that this person who stereotypically looks like a very calm and quiet
Mm.
person is now the person who is maybe threatening, stalking,
Ooh,
or destroying property. So, again, every day is not the same.
wow. So we know that you're a judge now. Prior to being a judge, what was the trajectory before you became a judge?
Before I was a judge, I was a real estate attorney for about 15, 20 years. When I left law school, I was a law clerk for the Mississippi Court of Appeals
Mhm.
and just did not enjoy Mississippi, was ready to get back to Atlanta.
When you say you were a law clerk, what do you do as a law clerk?
As a law clerk, I was working for one of the judges, helping him write propose memos, propose orders. I would help review any cases that came before, and he would hear the oral arguments. But then when he decided what he wanted to do, we would prepare the orders for him, and then he would edit them. It was the Honorable Judge Tyree Irving. I
Okay.
did that for a year in
Mhm.
Jackson and just was not sure what I wanted to do after that. I knew I did not, at that point, want to do criminal. But I came back to Atlanta and did, I wound up doing public defense for about 4.5, 5 years.
Mhm.
But I am licensed in Mississippi, Georgia, and now Tennessee. And so I wound up going to work for a real estate firm that did a multi-state practice. And I enjoyed working for real estate. I enjoy looking at land issues, title issues.
Oh.
I did that for about, like I say, 15, 20 years.
Mhm.
And then I left that firm when it closed, did a couple of other real estate firms doing litigation, and wound up in Fulton County working for county government doing their land sales, their tax sales, anything with land, that was my wheelhouse. And my trajectory at that point was just to maybe go in Fulton County into their deputy or some position where I was leading ship there. But when our Spelman sister
Mhm.
wound up getting elected in Clayton County, and she was like, "Don't you want to be a magistrate court judge?" And I was like, "No." Because I just felt like it was very serious. It's something that people look at judges, like you say, Judge Judy, and I knew it was a serious thing. Like you're going to be before people, you're going to be deciding their lives, you're going to be signing their bonds, if their cases are heard. And I just was not sure if that was for me. So I prayed on it and decided why not.
So it was a Spelman sister who suggested to you, you know what I mean? That's that sisterhood.
Yeah,
I
I
love
mean,
that.
me and her have been friends for years, and she was like, "I want you here. I need you to help me support me in this position." And I think that's one thing I would like to tell your students is that
Mhm.
you have to be able to pivot when the position comes for you. You don't never know.
Yes.
You may have a trajectory where your life is going to go, and you think, I'm going to be in Fulton County or some type of county government position
Mhm.
and just ride this on out.
Mhm.
I'm making good money.
Mhm.
I'm good.
Mhm.
And then someone offers the opportunity for you to do something different that you hadn't seen yourself in and just make a decision on it, just play on it, do a pros and cons, visit your tribe or talk to your people who you admire who are already doing it and see if that's something you would want to do. And that's what I did. I actually talked to some judges who had done the position too as well. And it was just a great I mean, it just was a pivot moment that I just am so grateful that I did now because it has opened so many doors and so many ideals of what can I do next with my life. And now I'm looking at where I want to do next after this position or where else do I want to go with my trajectory from my judicial career.
Well, I'm so happy that you took a chance to try something different. And that is so true that if you just, you know, sometimes if someone who you trust offers you a chance to do something different, you just got to say, why not? What's the worst that can happen? You can always go back to what you were doing before.
Well, I think another thing that kind of caught my attention with this position was that thinking about like you all I don't know how it is for you, but I sometimes short sell myself thinking, can I really do that? Is that something I really want to do? Is that something that, you kind of get caught up in your mind of why you can't do something. And I just made myself realize that why not? Like you say, everybody else can. You have so many friends and families who you think, how did they do that? What made them go ahead and take that next step? And that was what I wanted to do. I said, well, you know what? I'm not, who knows when I ever had this time to be a judge again. So let me try. And I just know that
Mhm.
as serious as the position is, I didn't want to take it for granted. I didn't wanna take like it's something that even though it's a magistrate court level, which is one of the lower courts, I did not wanna take it as, like a Judge Judy or like it's something that is trivial. It's something that is important. You're protecting the community, you're protecting the
Mhm.
victims, you're protecting the accused. Everyone has a right, and I just take it
Mhm.
very seriously.
Yeah. So who knows? Maybe, maybe that's also too part of our Spelmany self wanting to be excellent. But, I just feel at the same time, so many other people who are subpar and we are excellent when the opportunity comes, and especially if it's a Spelman sister, if they're asking us to do it, they wouldn't come to you if they didn't feel that you could do it. And I always say that God wouldn't put an opportunity in front of you if he didn't feel that you can do it. I remember when I was in my late 20s, an older lady, wanted me to run for office. And, I had never thought about it. And I was like in my mind, well, if she's asking me to do it, she must believe or see something in me. And then that's how I became an elected official at a young age. And so that's how I got into community politics. So sometimes you just got to just say, why not?
Why not? And also do it with a servant's heart. I
Yes.
think you're not doing these type of positions as, council persons or commissioners or judges to make money. You're doing this to
Hmm.
help people. And if you have that servant leadership, servant heart that you want to
Hmm.
help people, that's the first step. So I think, someone saw in you that this is a person that I think could be good, can advocate and represent us.
Hmm.
So I agree.
Yeah, absolutely. So now, did you always want to be in the law? I know that you went to, Spelman, and that's how I met you.
Yeah.
But did you always say to yourself, like, I want to be a lawyer. I want to be, go into the field of law, period?
Quick answer is no. I did not want to go into law. Ironically, the same Spelman sister who has got me in this position for judge, me and her were roommates in Spelman, and she was in the pre-law society, and everyone was pre-law or pre-med or business group, and I was like, I don't want to do that. I am not going to have that. I was so anti. Remember being, I was a history major with you, and I
Yes.
also wound up being a women's studies major because I had enough credits to get that. And I just thought I was gonna write books and have the summers off and be like Dr. Bridgewater. I'm gonna have my
Yes.
PhD. I'm gonna do my life. I'm gonna live it. And I wound up doing 2 summer programs. I did one for my junior and senior year at the University of California, Los Angeles, UCLA, for Minority Research Summer Opportunity Program. And then I did another similar program when I graduated from Spelman at the University of Utah called the Summer Research Opportunity Program. But both programs are geared to get minorities into graduate school and get you
Hmm.
then into these graduate programs to be teachers or professors. And after I did those 2 summers, I remember talking to my advisors, and they just kind of presented like a scared straight perspective of being a professor. They were like, "Oh, tenure is this what you gotta go through, and then you have to defend this, and being a woman and a person of color, you might have these obstacles." And I wasn't scared per se, but it definitely gave me pause.
Hmm.
I graduated from Spelman. I did not have a plan. I was literally still thinking, okay, well, do I want to still try to go to grad school and get a PhD in history or some other African American studies or
Hmm.
somewhat, or do I want to do something else? And I, again, another Spelman sister was like, why don't you do law again? Why are you so anti-law? You can do so much with law. You can be a lawyer, you can be a professor, you can work in business. It's
Hmm.
just a lot of ways to pivot. And one of our Morehouse brothers, another person had a conversation with me how God Sends your little angels will speak to you. He sat me down one day. He was like, "So, are you gonna teach for a living?" And I said, "I don't know. I kind of think I want to do like graduate level." And he was like, "So, you gonna be in school for how long?" And he just kept on like taking that conversation with me about what do you want to do with yourself.
Mhm.
And I wound up getting a LSAT book and
Mhm.
studying for it. I had already done some programs for the GRE with those 2 summer programs, and I kinda had an idea about standardized testing. And I said, "Well,
Mhm.
you know what? It won't hurt to apply to law school and see what my options are."
Mhm.
And I wound up getting a scholarship to go to the University of Mississippi. And again, I was like, God is trying to tell me something because I wound up having a scholarship versus having to pay for Spelman. So I was like, let me just pivot and see what goes with that. I mean, I can always go back and get me a PhD, or I can even write books about being a lawyer later. And that's how it started. But I literally was not thinking about the law when I was at Spelman. I just had this dream. Dr. Beverly got chef doll. I thought I was gonna be like her, so cool. I was
Yeah.
gonna be in women's studies. I was gonna be teaching the
Mhm.
people about themselves, and that was just gonna be me. And that didn't happen.
But you know what? You're making an impact, and I love like, again, it's so crazy how our Spelman sisters and Morehouse brothers, they're like angels or people are put in, place to keep asking you questions and guiding you along. So, we know that you are originally from Mississippi, and you're probably like the first person I met from Mississippi, and you didn't fit all the stereotypes that I believed. I'm not gonna lie, I was scared of Mississippi because of what I saw in the films. I thought
Yeah.
people would talk with a certain kind of, you didn't have that accent. You were, of course, intelligent, bright, and just open minded. But what was it like growing up in Mississippi, and how did you choose Spelman, or how did you hear about Spelman?
So I think when people think of Mississippi, they think about of course, the
Mississippi burning,
60s, yeah,
Mississippi
Mississippi
burning.
burning, yeah.
Yes.
And I'm not going to say that wasn't the case, but I grew up in
Hmm.
the um, late 80s, early 90s,
Hmm.
and I went to a majority minority school.
Hmm.
I grew up in Pascagoula, Mississippi. I went to Moss Point High School, and I never really experienced any type of racism that was prevalent from the stereotypes. I'm not saying that it didn't
Hmm.
happen, it just was not my reality. I wound up doing band, I did choir, I did modeling squad, I was an AP student. I just did
Look at
everything that
you.
was to it was just I mean, I played basketball as a youth. I didn't have any of those problems. Of course, I grew up in a majority, Black community, so I didn't have those issues, and I went to church. I just had a great time. I don't remember anything being prejudiced. I'm not saying that didn't happen. It
Mhm.
wasn't anything that held me back.
Right. Mhm.
But I wound up going to Spelman because my best friend's sister was at Spelman. So my best friend in high school, she was like, "We're gonna go to Spelman. My sister loves it. It's the best school ever." I had never been to Spelman. I had been to Alcorn. My mother went to Alcorn. I've been to Jackson State. My father had been
Mhm.
to Jackson State. I
Mhm.
grew up with those HBCUs in my life.
Mhm.
USM, even Tulane and Xavier.
Mhm.
Those are the schools that I was thinking about and I was
Mhm.
applying to. But she just said, "Let's apply to Spelman."
So you didn't visit before?
Did not visit. So my boyfriend, when I was a junior, he was a senior. He wanted to go into Morehouse, and we wound up breaking up when he went to his freshman year, and I was my senior year of high school.
Mhm.
Because I was like, "You're not gonna be in Atlanta doing
Mhm.
your life, and I'm down here in Mississippi." Like, "Oh my gosh." I mean, we still hung out when he came
Mhm.
home, but I just wanted him to have a great freshman year and enjoy himself. And I wanted to have my own senior year, and we're still cool
Mhm.
to this day. But
Oh,
he went to Morehouse. And I think that was kind of one of the things that kind of made me think about, well, my friend loves Spelman. Her big sister loves Spelman. And, he talks
mhm.
about how great Atlanta is, and it's a great opportunity to see a different perspective. And I
Mhm.
applied and got in. And ironically, my best friend didn't go. She unfortunately got pregnant in our senior year, on prom night. And so she didn't go. That's fine. She's still lived the best life. She's a nurse now. Her daughter's
Mhm,
beautiful. She's has a
mhm.
great life, great grandchildren, everything. But I then had my mind set that I'm going to Spelman because I had then researched and I didn't see Spelman for the first time until I came up that June after graduating from high school and I
Mhm.
had got my financial aid package and I was like, I need more money. I can't come here
It was
without
it
some
was
more
that
money.
$2,000, huh? Or did you get more?
I don't even remember. I just knew that I was like, I cannot come to Spelman with this amount of money and I need some more money. And I was up in financial aid that June begging for money.
That's right.
And I wound up getting some more money. But again, I wasn't thinking about Spelman. I was thinking about just staying locally in the Southeast, and God presented this opportunity, and that's where I went. It's been one of the best decisions of my life.
I'm so happy you came because I got to meet you
Of
because,
course.
there was just a small group of us, as history majors. So what was the biggest, like, challenge for you to transition from Mississippi to Atlanta? Or was there a big transition or no?
It was. So again, I came from small town, Moss Point, Pascagoula, Jackson County, Mississippi. At that
Mhm.
time, we may have had one or two homeless people. So think about I'm coming to Atlanta where I'm walking down the West End and I'm seeing homeless people left and right. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, because I wasn't freaking out, but it was just a new experience. And of course, I'm the town I grew up in may have had 27, I don't even know how many thousand people. My son could probably tell you. I don't even know. I just know that it was very small. So you come to Atlanta where you got not just the HBCUs, the
Mhm.
AUC community, you
Mhm.
got Tech, Georgia State,
Mhm.
Oglethorpe. I mean, it just so
Mhm.
Emory.
Mhm.
And so it was just a different culture shock. And then another thing that was different for me was I was in the top 10 of my class in high school. So then
Mhm.
when you come to Spelman, I know you heard it. Look to your left and look to your right. Everyone here is the best. We're the top 10. We valedictorians. We salutatorian. No one here is better than the other person. And you are the best of the best, the cream of the crop. So I came to Spelman and thought, okay, well now I'm with my peers.
Yep.
And I also came to Spelman thinking I was going to be a chemistry major. So that was another change for me. I thought I was going to, I did some minority programs for college, some high school students at Fisk,
Mhm.
and had this big idea. I was going to be a biochemistry major. I was going to do EEOC. I was going to be like saving the world and helping the world, community, doing recycling and making sure we save the environment. And then I came to Spelman and I looked to the left and looked to the right, and everybody's the same. And so I'm like, well, I'm gonna do this. I'm not gonna be deterred by everyone being the same. I'm gonna still, come to the top.
Mhm.
And then I failed chemistry my freshman year, first semester. So that was another moment where I had to be like, I done came to Spelman. I done begged for this money to come to Spelman.
Mm.
My parents done brought me up here. They helped me get through my first year of being homesick.
Mhm.
And now I don't fail chemistry. And so I wound up being on academic probation. And my counselor, Mr. Allen Berry, who I still keep in
Girl,
touch
you know
with,
his first name and last name.
well, he was a great kind of steering me of where I want to go in my life. And he was like, "Do you still want to do chemistry?" And I was like, well, maybe I don't need to if I can't if I can't pass G Chem. And he wound up telling me about just kind of like let me explore other opportunities. So I looked at English and I thought about history and I wound up sticking with history again because that's something that I liked. And again, like you say, we were one of the few small group of comrades there learning about history and it then got my degree in Bachelor of Arts in History and Women's Studies.
I know that, we are wrapping up our conversation, so thank you so much for sharing.
I do like helping students. If anyone have ever has a question about is law for me or can I come visit your courtroom and you're in the law school or you're Spelman students or just any student. I don't mind
Mhm.
helping and like at least letting you see what it's like to be in the courtrooms. if this is something you wanna do, or at least just visit.
And then last but not least, do you want to leave any words of advice or just say anything, life advice, with the folks before we close out?
Always tell people that everything happens for a reason and that you can't be afraid to pivot. You can't be afraid that if an opportunity comes to you to take it. That's something I think every sometimes people get caught up in they wanted their life trajectory. To me, everything in my life that was meant to be and that everything that was has happened was it was supposed to be that way. God meant it to be that way. And you can't be afraid to also pray for discernment. I have always just when I'm unsure about my decisions or what's best to do, I just pray. And then at some point, either the answer becomes evident or it becomes easy. Something that I was so I would tell your audience to just realize that everything happens the way it's supposed to. And if you didn't get that position or that internship or get into this college or law school, it might not be because that's the one for you. The one that's for you is going to be for you and it's going to accept you and you're going to be in there and you're going to have that position or have that career. And when it does appear, don't be afraid to take it. I want to go to George Washington Law School, but fam, you accepted me for law school. Maybe that's where you need to be.
All right. Thank you so much. And we'll see you next episode.
Hey, thank you for having me.